I'm going to take you on a journey of events that essentially blew up my life as I knew it, but ultimately put me on a path towards creating a life where I get to wake up every day with the freedom to choose how I want to live. Now, hi everyone, I'm Nicole, and welcome to my series called My Freedom Life, where I'm going to take you on a journey of events that essentially blew up my life as I knew it, but ultimately put me on a path towards creating a life where I get to wake up every day with the freedom to choose how I want to live. Now, in the beginning, all I chose to do was rest. Lots and lots of rest. And as we move through the series, you'll start to understand why. But in this season, I'm being called to pursue my purpose. And that's essentially what's led to me creating this series. Now, I'll be honest, I am 100% an introvert, and I normally do not feel comfortable in front of the camera. Not only that, I'm usually a pretty private person. However, whenever I share this story with others, I can see how inspired they are. And so, in order to be intentional about pursuing my purpose, I've decided to get over the fear and step out of my comfort zone so that I can share this story with you. So, if what you've heard so far has started to inspire you, come back so that you can find out what the catalyst was, or as my coach likes to call it, the boulder that got me here. This is just the beginning. So, what exactly was the catalyst for getting me here? Now, I know we're all familiar with the term burnout, but if I'm being honest, I was not familiar with the term burnout being a medical condition until I was diagnosed with it in October of 2022. Let me tell you something. Burnout almost took everything from me, and I didn't even see it coming. But from the outside looking in, my life seemed perfect. I had an incredible career. I had the big job titles, and I was making decent money. I was your quote unquote success story. But let me tell you something. On the inside, I was tired. I was emotionally, physically, and mentally exhausted from the stress of work, from the stress of doing all the things and being all the things. I was in full-blown survival mode and didn't even realize it. My therapist diagnosed me with high-functioning burnout, where I would show up, I would smile, perform, produce, all the while my body was slowly breaking down. And you know what? My spirit was even worse. I was not able to sleep. I started to become very anxious and experience anxiety for the first time. My entire body was inflamed. Essentially, I was running on fumes. And you know what? You know what I did? I kept going. I kept going because that's what we've been taught to do. That's what we've been programmed to do. We've been taught to just push through. And then the day came. The day that I decided to choose myself. The day that I decided to make a call that I didn't know at the time was going to put me on a path to creating this life of freedom. So, if this sounds familiar, and if you've been ignoring signs that your body and your spirit has been trying to send you, just know you're not alone. Next week, I'm going to tell you all about the call that I now know saved my life and put me back on a journey towards myself. On my birthday, while the world saw me as winning, I picked up the phone and I gave myself a gift. I called my boss and I said I wouldn't be coming back. Let's be clear, this was not a dramatic mic drop moment. This was simply a woman whose body had been whispering and then screaming for her to slow down. I was waking up in pain. My back, my spirit, everything was heavy. And for far too long, I told myself, it's just stress. It'll be okay. You can just push through. But on that day, my birthday, I decided I didn't want to celebrate with champagne or cake. I wanted to celebrate by finally choosing me. Look, I didn't quit my job that day. I quit abandoning myself. I stopped waiting for the perfect time. I stopped waiting for everything needing to be lined up just right. But most importantly, on that day, I stopped betraying my body and my soul for a paycheck and a title. Now, the call. The call was short, but what it said was everything. And it went a little something like this. I called, I said, "Hi, today is my birthday, and I know that there's never a good time to have a phone call like this. However, my doctors have been asking me to go on leave to take care of my mental and physical health for the last few months. And as a birthday present to myself, I'm letting you know that beginning next week, I will be taking a medical leave." Now, that call was scary. And to be honest, I really didn't have a plan, just a knowing that I could not go on like this. And in that moment, I realized that sometimes the boldest goodbyes are the ones that no one claps for, but they're the ones that save your life. I know it did mine. That phone call was truly the beginning of my freedom, but I had no idea where the path would lead. All I knew was that I needed to find myself again. And so I bought a one-way ticket to the most healing place that I'd ever been. And when I bought that one-way ticket to Bali, I was not looking for an adventure. I was looking for relief from the noise and from the pressure and from the version of me who knew how to perform but had forgotten how to feel. I did not have a full plan, but I knew that if I didn't get still and if I didn't get quiet, if I didn't let something inside of me break open, I'd stay stuck in survival mode. Bali held me like I had not been held in years. It wasn't just the beauty of the island. It was the permission to pause, to rest, to cry, to remember. In Bali, I learned that rest isn't just a luxury, it's medicine. I laid down burdens that I didn't even know I was carrying. Some days I journaled, other days I just sat. Other days I just slept. There was one time where the hotel staff came knocking on my door because I literally was so exhausted. I also met some amazing healers in Bali that introduced me to Eastern medicine techniques like ozone therapy that after 2 weeks of sessions was able to help me alleviate my back pain. Having the time to pour into my wellness journey like this really wasn't about fixing myself. It was about meeting myself for the first time. That trip taught me that peace does not come in the form of checking more boxes. It comes from checking in with your body, with your spirit, with your truth. And somewhere between the rice fields, the massages, and the quiet mornings with tea and tears, I started to remember who I was before the burnout, before the titles, and before I believed that I had to earn rest. That version of me, she didn't just heal, she redefined what it meant to be rich. Next week, I'll tell you how Bali didn't just change my pace, it changed my values, and how freedom, not money, became the wealth that I now protect at all costs. See you next week.